reigning Super Bowl champs the last time they came to town. Head coach Antonio Pierce had some interesting comments heading into today's matchup.
Let's call a spade, right? The best team in football against the worst team in football. Let's change the narrative, right? Let's go out there and make it a dog fight. Let's make it ugly. Let's make it scrappy. It's Black Friday. Let's create a little chaos. Let's get back to Raider football and have some fun and some personality and let it loose.
All right, I want to start with our former players here. Cam, you're up first, and then RC. And I'm so interested in this topic, Cam, honestly. Does this type of motivation work when your coach says you're the worst team in the league?
The topic of this whole segment has been what, Miss L?
Delusion.
Thank you. The antidote to delusion is what, Miss L? Truth. So when Coach Pierce says the things that he said, we must understand, and I quote, let's change the narrative. Let's make it a dogfight. Let's make it ugly. Let's make it scrappy. Black Friday, let's create a little chaos. That's the truth. When he admits to say, okay, the first sign of admission, whatever you say, Stephen, you have to admit something.
Accepted.
He has accepted the truth and know what it will take to defeat the best team in the NFL. So I have no issue with it from my perspective. If anything, it's going to give us a more reason to be a little scrappy, to be a little gritty, that embodies the whole Las Vegas Raiders, even back in the day with the Oakland Raiders. We love to see it. So, Coach Pierce, great job from my side.
RC?
Hey, he hit us with the Chris Berman. One is just honesty. And the one thing you have to understand about football teams is before a coach says it publicly, he says it to you within the meeting room. He says that this is the way that people are looking at us. This is the way that people feel about us. This is what the film says. But also on the other side of that, inside that building, you got to build those guys up. You got to say, this is not what I think of you. This is not the way I see you guys working. Let's go out and make it ugly. And when you look at the rosters, when you're playing with Desmond Ridder and they playing with Patrick Mahomes, hell yeah, you the underdog. When they got people that got 3 rings and you ain't got no rings, hell yeah, you the underdog. When you're looking at your roster and you're looking at people, you say, okay, we went through Gardner Minshew, we had Aiden O'Connell, now we got a quarterback that we had to get from the practice squad from another team that's starting against a quarterback that's already a Hall of Famer that's in the conversation to be the GOAT. Hell yeah, it's the worst against the best. Now, how do you win it? You know how it goes. If you can't hit threes, you got to make sure that they can't hit them either. So we got to body up to them. We got to make it ugly. Listen, I played basketball in high school, right? And I could actually hoop. But you know what they used me for? The dude on the other team that was actually the good basketball player, RC, I want you to face guard him all the way down the court. I want you to bump him. I want you to elbow him. I want you to make it ugly. When he go talk to his coach, I want you to go stand next to him. You know why? Because we knew we didn't have the skill level and the talent to beat him. That's exactly what Antonio Pierce is saying. And I think it starts with him because he's one of my best friends in the world. And I know right now he's not going to compare his resume to Andy Reid. So they're playing up the underdog mentality in that locker room. And how do we beat them? We make it a fist fight. We make it scrappy. We act like those people when the flat screens first came out on Black Friday that used to throw hands in Best Buy. That's what Antonio Pierce wants. And that's what he got to get if he want a chance.
I feel you on that. Beautiful soliloquy. I would only ask, do we have to sound celebratory for echoing those words? Like, they're the worst team in football, you're going to say that. You're the coach. And you ain't just arrived last week. You've been the coach all of this time. So, as you say they're the worst, it does beg the question, well, Dan, why is that? Because we saw a sorry-ass Giants team yesterday. Well, according to you, Antonio Pierce, you worse than that.
Ow.
You understand what I'm saying? We've seen, the Bengals struggling this year. You worse than that. We've seen, we're looking at anybody in the NFC North or whatever. We're looking at, you've seen teams in the National Football League. We've seen New England this year. Well, according to you, you're worse than that. Well, why? I love Antonio Pierce, too. He used to work at the network. Good brother, honest brother. I respect the hell out of him, and I'm wishing him well. I ain't rooting against him. I'm just saying it ain't a they, it's an us. And if you're the leader of that team that you call the worst, well, damn it, why they got to be the worst? They can struggle. They can be bad. There can be room for improvement. There's a lot, there's a lot of stuff that you could say other than saying they're the worst. Now, when you say they're the worst, maybe it is a motivational tactic. Well, who's motivating you? Because if they're the worst, you coach. I mean, that's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say. You know, that muck and mire that you alluded to, you right up in that. And you the one, you the one coordinate everything. What's the problem? That's all I'm saying.
Well, on top of that, too, it feels like so backhanded. And by the way, let me say, I know this personally, especially over the last week. Giants fans have not been super happy with me. But it's like when my friends who think they're giving me a pep talk, like insult me in a backhanded way. They're like, they think you're dumb. They think you're an idiot. They think you're bad at your job. I'm like, they do? Damn, that's kind of what this was giving a little bit. Like, they think you're the worst team in the NFL. I actually think it's still the Giants and not the Raiders. But I will say this.
So do I.
I will say this. I would not be surprised if the Raiders give them a little something. I mean, you mentioned the last time that they played in Las Vegas. That was on Christmas Day last year. The Chiefs had said it was their bottom. That was a game that, if you remember, was marked by the fact that the Raiders won despite the fact they didn't complete a pass after the first quarter. So it would not surprise me at all with two divisional opponents if the Raiders can muck it up and do all of the things that Antonio Pierce said that they were hoping and attempting to do. But no, yes, we all know you're the underdog here.
I think he's a high-energy guy. He's an intense guy. I believe in him. But you also understand, y'all know this better than me, everybody can't take that level of candor and honesty and accountability. You understand? Everybody ain't built for it. And you got some people he gonna turn off along the way. And in the process of turning them off, they gonna walk out the door complaining about him. Doesn't make them right, doesn't make them accurate, but it does play a role in what we're seeing too.
There was a lot of reports for multiple reasons, but in the famous word, I had a good player on our team, OG, we called him, Jericho Cotry, and he shared something while playing with Mike Tomlin.
Jericho.
And Jericho said one time, Mike Tomlin said, I want volunteers, not hostages. So when you look at a situation that partook in Las Vegas with Davante Adams, and you got Coach Pierce saying to myself, you want to leave? Go and leave. Well, I don't want no hostage. I don't want you to feel like bondage to a franchise. If you don't want to be for, and fight for the players in this locker room and fight for this franchise and fight for you, go. We will send you wherever you want to go, right? That's the report that I kind of felt. Davante want to win. So I see it on both sides, but when you look at a situation from a coach's perspective as well as a teammate, you don't want nobody to just be thinking that, man, I don't want to be here because we losing. Okay, if you're not willing to, grit it out and say we got to find ways to win, bro, volunteers.
RC, you want the final word here?
Yeah, because the first thing is, right, why did this team win last year? They played hard on defense, and they ran the ball with Josh Jacobs. And they had Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. So when the new GM comes in, he makes the decision that I'll go pay Gardner Minshew to be the quarterback of this team, and I'll let Josh Jacobs walk. So right away, the identity that Antonio Pierce established that allowed this team to win football games is now in Green Bay, helping them win football games with the physical run game. And then not only that, when we talk about the Davante Adams piece of it, he went to Las Vegas to play with Derek Carr. Derek Carr is obviously gone. He had come from playing with Aaron Rodgers. It was as much about playing with the quarterback he believed in, or he believed in that could help him continue to ascend, more than as much as it was about winning for him. So I think all kind of things have gone on in Las Vegas, but the bottom line is this. In his honest opinion right now, that's what the way this team is seen, and the only way to go change that is to try to get a win against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Absolutely. And that volunteers and hostages line applies to all aspects of life.